Welcome back to Path Podcast, episode 10. In this interview, we are going to be talking with Christian, who is an entrepreneur based out of Europe. And in this episode, we talk about his journey, advice to young aspirational entrepreneurs, and a lot of self-improvement topics. So stay tuned, enjoy.
Yeah, so I guess, tell our audience just a little bit about what you do as an entrepreneur and what your businesses do.
Yeah, see this a little better.
So first of all, thank you, David and Ben, for inviting me to the Paths podcast. I think from what we have talked so far, I think our values and missions so far they align pretty well. So I'm right now invested in multiple ventures. My background begins in software and in the internet service provider space because that's what my family does, as well technological and strategic consulting. And in particular, when it comes to our main business, which is Beconex, we were one of the first pioneers in the internet space. In fact, that's a pretty funny story. If we think about it, like especially in the 80s and the 90s, like if you were talking about internet, even in the United States, like you were deemed as crazy
Yeah, exactly.
because no one would even invest a cent in you because no one believed it would actually work. Like it was seen like as some sci-fi stuff.
Right.
And imagine like for someone like such as my father that like he grew up in Italy, imagine in Europe speaking about that and trying to build a business there. So it was a very rough path, like because in general the disbelief and the distrust, especially in Southern Europe when it comes to innovation, it's a great deal. But like eventually we created our niche. Right now we have a strong clientele in the B2B space. So we only deal mainly with business clients because like especially our competitors such as GoDaddy or One to One in Germany or OVH in France, they are very aggressive in the
Yeah.
B2C segment. So for like many reasons, including this one, we prefer to deal with corporate and business clients also because we have tailored our services to specifically serve them. While
Right.
in general, I would say to serve B2C clientele with the same attention to the details and keeping the same margins would be very difficult because
Gotcha.
Yeah.
from what I have noticed, like especially when it comes to clients that transition to us, many of our clients before they were, for instance, working with like I don't know GoDaddy or OVH, but they don't have the same attention to business clients as us because they're mainly focused on the B2C segment. So that's why they transition to us because we are more attentive and we are specialized in that and we can serve larger attention to detail and to customer care, which is crucial to retain the customer, I would say. Like you
Yeah.
cannot retain a business customer if you're not attentive and available, like even 24/7 to their needs, because especially when it comes to managing data centers and server rooms, you have to be available 24/7. Because, for instance, a few years ago, we had a massive DDoS attack from Belarus, actually, like many of the packets at that origin. And we had clients like calling our SUEC center at 3 a.m. because everything went shut down.
Wow.
Whoa. How did you deal with that?
Well, I mean, fortunately, we have there are available pretty sophisticated technologies to deal with that. such as load balancers or other providers that offer protection against this type of attacks, such as Cloudflare. But
Yeah.
sometimes even that is not enough.
Wow.
So I think in general, like especially for businesses, it's always better to invest before the attack happens. Like you have
Yeah.
to think in a, you have to try as much as possible to prevent the attack. Invest in pen testing, and also like invest either in your own SUC center if you start to have like manage critical data, and in general be a noticeable business. Like if you're popular, you start to become a target, and you have
Yeah, for sure.
always to, like, the line of thinking should be, I am not like just my blue team, so like my company against a certain group. Like when you are on the online space, it's borderless. So
Yeah.
you're you're dealing, you like your blue team as it's called in cybersecurity, versus the red team, which is a worldwide network of malicious agents.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of a good philosophy to have in general is invest before the problem happens because when the problem's happening and you need to get like you have a deadline to hit, then you're pretty much screwed because you have to work on two different things, protecting your business and providing for that business customer that's relying on you. So that's a good philosophy to have, invest beforehand.
I mean, I would say that also like it's not something that comes inherently from cybersecurity. Like actually, many ancient like philosophies, especially when it comes to medicine, such as the ancient school of medicine, like of Chinese medicine, they were very invested when it comes to prevent the disease, not cure it afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, preventative health. We talk about that a lot actually
Yeah.
on Path, not just in like the business space, but like in the health and wellness space. Like, do everything you can so you don't get to that point where you are really sick, but it was all prevented, like just from your 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
So, definitely a good philosophy.
Yeah. And kind of creating that subset of habits, right? Because like moving, like trying to think 3, 4, 5, 10 years ahead and be like, okay, I know that these problems are going to happen now. How can I best position myself? And I think that's one of the things you brought up with the ancient, like the Chinese methods and the philosophies is great because there's a lot of ways that you can extract value from like multidisciplinary approaches, right? You don't have to just stay in like cybersecurity. You can go to like ancient Chinese philosophy, or you don't have to use only health stuff. You can go to like business and extract value for like these different segments. And so I think it's pretty amazing how you can kind of you're kind of referencing these different points because it does make a lot of sense.
But also, have you seen, guys, that like right now there is a sort of awakening of the polymaths? So like like especially right now in the YouTube space, there is this flock of creators that they are awake right now and they are speaking about becoming a polymath, try to reach a certain Renaissance standard of being like a master of many arts. And in my opinion, this is pretty interesting. Although I think what the like internet space and especially like TikTok and YouTube they do wrong in my opinion is that like they try to label anything. Like like for instance with this thing right now, it's not okay. I'm encouraging you to like become your best like version of yourself. I'm labeling you like you're a polymath, you're a Renaissance man. Well, like in my opinion, this is also what I like about Path. We should encourage people to like be happy in creating their own ideal of themselves, like align
Exactly.
Exactly.
with their ethics and also with their moral point of view. Because
For sure.
otherwise, it's in my opinion, if we try to categorize everyone and label them, we are not giving them the freedom they need to express themselves,
Yeah.
because it's like a cage. Like it's not a physical cage, but like it's a metaphysical cage, like in the ideas, in the heuristic space.
All right, quick interruption. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Path channel. It helps us out a lot. And if you enjoy it, make sure to hit the like button. All right, back to the video. Yeah, no,
exactly.
it's kind of like a societal cage. We talk about this too, where what's best for you is becoming the best version of what you think is good, and not just conforming to what society at this point in time thinks is good. Because trends change. We see this all the time and on social media. One day this thing is good, or this is good on another day. And that just messes with your head. Like, oh, am I not good anymore because I don't match up with this trend? So yeah, Path kind of gives people the autonomy to think for themselves and kind of decipher what the best version of themselves truly is, and we'll unlock that for them.
Yeah, because I mean, especially for us, like going through like the self-improvement arc, you see a lot of like quote unquote mentors who just want you to subscribe to some sort of regimen program. They try to sell you something, right? And we're kind of the opinion that it's like we're trying to kind of give people like the tools necessary to kind of complete their own path. Because like for me personally, what I found the most growth that I've had in life is when I've kind of went out and searched for it myself, and when I've like done the research. I've done it all myself, not when someone's given it to me, not when like by watching like a YouTube video about how to do this thing and you just watch it like mindlessly, but actually like building it and creating it into real life. That's where you actually grow.
Yeah.
And you know, like
but try.
this is actually very interesting because it connects sort of. Have you ever guys heard about the novel of Joseph Campbell about the journey of the hero? This is a very interesting concept,
No.
and I think actually everyone should sort of trying to enter in that optic, because we are the like hero of our journey, and in general I've inspired like so many people by telling them this, and if we start to view our own life as our like own heroes, and we give meaning to our hardships as a way to achieve an end goal, like everything becomes like totally different, because like our struggle, it's not there by itself. Like we gave it meaning. There are actually challenges that they grow our purpose, and so we are not just struggling and like keeping ourselves down in one spot, but actually this struggle is reshaping ourselves towards our end goal. And it's very interesting because we sort of lost this perspective, but it was very present in the Middle Age, because there were popular tales, which actually even like the Russian critic Vladimir Prop created like a structure around them. So like there is the hero, then there is the challenge, the helper, then there is the final struggle, the battle against the evil. So I think we should like try to extract the best knowledge, like metaphysical and philosophical, from these like ancient tales, because actually literature, it's much more helpful in certain cases than self-help books, because self-help
Yeah.
books, they come from literature, but they we lost the like the habit of trying to decipher literature and get like the deep meaning of it. Well, like we can be the like heroes of our own journey, and accept that there will be struggles. That like struggles and hardships are actually meaningful for building ourselves, and like at a certain spot, like at a certain point of our path, we will actually like think about it, and we will see that like our suffering was actually like a good moment of our path, of our journey. So
Yeah.
that's why I always say that we shouldn't like seek for the destination, but we should enjoy the process.
Absolutely.
Well said, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people too, they view failure as just like one-off thing where as soon as they fail, then they stop. They're like, oh, I failed, I just should quit. But when you kind of change your perspective, and something that we've talked a lot about is reframing. So this kind of plays into what you were talking about, where instead of seeing like some bad situation as for like just bad, you're like, okay, well, how can I learn from this? Or like changing the way that
Exactly.
you changing the way that you think about something in order to find the good in it. Because like something that I've heard recently or in the past couple months is that like the situations happen whether you like it or not. And you can either choose to be positive or negative, because whether you choose to be positive or negative dictates how you move forward and how you act. So if you always think negative with something, then you're always just going to be in self-doubt. You're going to condemn yourself. You're going to have pity for yourself. You're not going to want to do anything. You like curl up in a ball and just cry. But if you think about it with the positive aspect, then you're like, okay, well, what can I do with this? And then you create that first step towards action.
Yeah, absolutely. Negative outcomes are already negative. You don't need to put more negativity by you thinking it's negative during that time. So yeah, think positive and figure out a way to, get through it. That's the best way.
Yeah. Oh, actually, like even if we read like ancient strategy books, such as like now it comes to my mind Clausewitz, like one of the best Prussian strategists and tacticians of all Europe. Like the most important aspect, as you guys were mentioning, is to like minimize damage. Well, like right now, a lot of what's happening with social media, like especially with the phenomenon of echo chambers, is that we don't minimize the damage, we amplify it, which is crazy. Like because it's like especially like when it comes to young people, like. Right now, like with Gen Z, we're seeing like an epidemic of like psychosis and like mental issues. And so, if you like instead, like if you don't like try to sort of help them and relieve this mental load, but like instead you amplify it and you make this load heavier, it's just gonna bring them down even more.
Yeah, it's directly stemmed from social media, which is sad because it's such a huge part of everyone's life, not just Gen Z.
Yeah.
But Gen Z is the one generation that's really like taken to it and is obsessed and consumed with it. So it's a sad thing. It's really just trying to balance like reality versus what the trends are telling you.
I think we should, like especially, I don't know if you guys have it already with Path. But from a metacognitive point of view, so like analyzing and understanding our thought patterns, we should educate, like in general, like millennials, Gen Z, to reflect how they interact with social media, because we should try to inspire people to use social media, not be used by social media. So in this case, they, for instance, like establish habits. So like control like your usage habits, and also like what's the purpose of you using social media. Like, are you using it to grow your life? And like for instance, like an example that comes right now to me is that like in China, like the most of the algorithms, like especially on platforms like TikTok, they're actually like inspirational content. So like there is content about like music, science, mathematics. Like how, like if you see someone like for instance on like on public transport, like scrolling on TikTok, like is it gonna like see this type of content, or is gonna like open his smartphone and look at some brain rot and laugh?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you juxtapose that with the United States, oh my God,
so bad.
The type of stuff you see on TikTok in the U.S. just makes me want to cry.
It's really
because it's exactly what you said. It's brain rot.
It's zero value. Yeah.
But it's the same in Europe. Like I cannot speak of like first account about the U.S. because I don't live there, but I would say that like it's a similar tragic situation like in Europe, because like I see even like I was right now like when we first spoke, like I was like 2 weeks ago like on vacation, and I see like these young kids, like there was like this journal shop with also like some action figures, like those figures, like everyone knows them. Like this kid looks at the at like one of those characters, like the one that like looks like a wooden stick, like Sahur, that one, and he starts like imitating like how they say it in the meme. And like that kid was 10 years like old.
Wait, I have heard of this. Is it like these AI generated like random objects with like faces on it?
Yes.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, yeah. I don't have TikTok. Just fair warning. I don't watch that. But I have heard of that, and that is, and actually I was having a conversation with someone the other night, and even like the sense of humor at these younger ages are going to be so like different from the sense of humor that we have as like older adults. They're going to have a sense of humor of these stupid videos, and that's all they've laughed at.
Yeah.
They've never had like a true laugh like in a conversation.
Yeah.
Someone says something funny. So it's going to be it's a
Yeah,
whole
like a
different thing.
paradigm because like these kids, it's like they show you the video of someone else doing something funny, and that's them being funny.
Right.
It's like virtue signaling, as opposed to like when we were growing up, you had to be a little bit funny.
Yeah, you had to say something funny to get a laugh.
You had to
Yeah.
put in some effort there. But
I mean, it's actually, I think it's a good reflection also of the state of society, because this is like a sort of nihilist and absurdist humor, which makes sense because we are like living in an age where values are being deconstructed, and in general, like it's happening the same with morals and moral codes. So like, I'm not really surprised this is happening also to humor, because
Yeah.
humor is a direct like reflection of the state of ethics and morals, because humor subverts it. So like if you just have something absurd and without meaning to subvert, like your humor is going to be without meaning and absurd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah, I think it's interesting too that you bring that up because it's like a lot of the moral and ethical values that are created in society are based on like traditions that people uphold. And it's interesting to compare that with technology, which has always been known to be a disruptor of like societies in and of itself. So like the better technology gets, like the more AI gets integrated into our lives, the more you're going to see like this disruption just kind of go. And it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be scary or if it's going to be great, but it seems like a 50-50 shot.
Yeah,
So
I'd agree with that.
But also I'm worried because I mean, for instance, I was talking about this anecdote with the kid, the like they're already like he was already clearly immersed like in this whole like brain rot thing, but like it's not his fault. Like he doesn't decide for
Yeah.
yeah,
himself. It's
Right.
it's like it's all like, in my opinion, it's the like this new generation of parents, like they in most of the cases they don't have the tools to be parents, because you cannot simply like run away from your duty as a parent, and simply because you're lazy go and give your kid like a smartphone like as soon like as he's born. Like nothing
Exactly.
good is gonna come out of it. Like especially I was reading like a statistics about what's going on like right now in like in kindergarten in the States, and there is like an epidemic of violence among like toddlers, and it's
Yeah.
like related about that,
Very.
because if you neglect like your toddlers, your kids, that is going to happen, because something else is going to educate them. Like you're
Right,
not
yeah.
going to give like them the right imprinting. You're not gonna like give them like your moral and like values heritage. Like they're going to be educated by the internet, which in my opinion is definitely not great.
No, not at all.
yeah,
And
you got to learn to navigate it.
when kids are at such a young age, their brains are sponges. And if you don't put in the work as a parent at that young age, they're going to find another place to, be fulfilled. So they won't have that emotional intelligence that comes with, sitting down with them and reading a book with them or watching a show with them.
Or just learning how to like be bored.
Yeah,
Because I
or-
feel like that's
yeah.
something that with social media, people have just kind of lost that ability to just sit there and just be like, I have nothing to do. Like
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
when
I'm
I
always
think-
reaching for a phone personally if like I'm bored, and it's
Yeah.
kind of scary to feel like, because it's like you stop yourself one of those times you're just like looking at your hands like you're like shaking.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a bad thing.
Addicts. But yeah.
It's a sort of like have you ever heard, guys, about the Pavlovian conditioning? It's the same principle.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you sort, because at the end like our brain has a property called neuroplasticity. So you can create new habits, new compulsions, if you give them enough repetition. So that's basically how it works. Like in
Yeah.
this case with the phones, like we become addicted to them because we sort of reiterate this like impulse and compulsion so many times, then it becomes ingrained in our neural structure. But
Yeah,
the good news
100%.
is
100%.
that we
Yeah.
can. The good news is that like because like we still have that property of neuroplasticity, we can reverse it. It doesn't have to
Exactly.
be that way always.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a shining light that you kind of see all these negative trends and we're talking with like a pessimistic view, but then I feel like on the flip side there is these trends of being able to like leverage neuroplasticity in order to kind of change those habits, or learning to kind of take that technology and kind of put it to the side for a second. So there is some positive aspects to technology that maybe we're not shining light on, but I think you have to kind of take both of these perspectives with a like a double-edged sword almost. Like you can leverage the benefits of technology, but you have to mitigate or accept those costs that kind of happen with that too.
Right. Yeah. So limitations, like put limitations on yourself when you're on social media,
Yeah.
like a time limit, just like 30 minutes. That's all I get today, or
Yeah.
an hour, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And that pays dividends
And
over
I
time.
think that like something at Path too, that like we're trying to push forth this ability just to critically think about something, that like it's kind of been a trend that we've been talking about for the past like 30 minutes or so, is like people have just kind of lost that ability to critically think. They've just gone with whatever social media says, whatever the newest trend says. And we want people to be able to critically think. And one of the main components to do that is learning to sit by yourself and just listen to your own thoughts, but more so what you said, Christian, like slowing down learning by being able to discuss with yourself, okay, what does this mean to me, right? What can I take away from this? And kind of using that to build brick by brick the path that you kind of want to lay out for yourself.
Yeah.
So kind of just to get on that, what's been your, like you've had the Beacon Extra, right? What's been your entrepreneurship journey over the past kind of, I think 7 years you said you've been, because you had a lot of ventures when we were talking, so a lot of experience.
And I would say that like I've always been working like, for instance, one of my first endeavors, like many like even though my friends they don't know about this, but like actually like I started at like 13 years old, working as a freelance designer. And
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
yeah, in general, I've always been like, for me, entrepreneurship, it wasn't like about uh, like uh, like creating profits or like necessarily like I wasn't viewing it as a hustle like for the sake of making money. Well, actually, for me, it was all about like expressing myself and creating. But like what I learned is that like in general the freelance space is very tough. Like because without the support like of like structure behind you, you're competing against the 10% of like worldwide freelancers that like everyone is booking them. So you're actually sort of left with the leftovers basically. But in general for me was like even right now that like I'm working as a startupper and I'm working on other ventures, for me was a like incredibly valuable like experience because I like it taught me how to present myself. Like at that age it taught me how to present myself, how to deal with clients. For instance, also my first contract, like professional contract, was with the like a gaming company because I was working on their like creative team. And this is also a part like of presenting myself because like compared to like other people that like maybe they were applying with a CV or like saying like claiming they had experience because of their school, like I built like a portfolio with mock-ups by myself and I
Yeah.
presented it to them, which is actually it's something that even like from a professional point of view for students it's like a helpful notion to develop because in this way you can like signal to companies that like you can bring on the board more value than other candidates.
Yeah. Definitely. I
Exactly.
want to come and go back to entrepreneurship was at the start was never about like just making a ton of money at the start. You said that, right?
I mean, at the end, I was like, even before like coming here online, like I was like reflecting about this. And in general, the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship, if you're a creative person, is that when you enter in a market, you're subjected to like a feedback loop. So, and this
Exactly.
is like a very beautiful concept because you're not just creating as a lone inventor. Like you're not just a crazy lone inventor, like just sitting by himself in his laboratory and just like being there obsessed by his work. But actually, you have a feedback system that like he can either reward you or penalize you. And this is like the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur in a market system, because the market can give you real-time feedback about what's working and what's not working, and you can create like a meaningful iteration process.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
100%.
I think so. And in our first call, we discussed that you also worked in like a corporate lifestyle. So I was wondering if you can kind of juxtapose or kind of compare those two and kind of your thoughts on that
About the corporate lifestyle.
versus like entrepreneurship.
Well, I think at the end, like the main difference it's freedom, because it's if you're a very independent thinker, like right now many companies, like especially to attract the best talent and the best thinkers, they claim, oh look, we promote entrepreneurship, we want to give you as much space as possible in like in our corporate field, and give you the space to express yourself. But like, let's be honest, like statistically, like like speaking in percentages, like is it realistic that like all the companies that like they claim this, they're going actually to like go on it and give you that much
Probably not.
space and
Yeah.
responsibility? I mean, at the end, like especially when it comes, because like at the end, this is signal theory from both poles, like the candidates and the corporations. Like at the end, it's not possible, like by definition, that like all of these claims will be true. And at the end, like I think if you are like an independent thinker and you enjoy the process of creation, like not for the, as I was saying before, like not for the sake of the ultimate goal, but for the sake of the process. Like if you enjoy that, I think you should be an entrepreneur, definitely.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%. I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of talking about like our first business venture, it was all about making money and it was passionless, right? It was an Amazon fulfillment business. And we started it our last semester of college, so senior year in college. We would go to this place every day, warehouse, and bid on pallets of random goods that we could resell on Amazon. And at the start, it was really good. And by the time our first year ended, we did $100,000 in sales on Amazon and through eBay. But we just got burned out by the second half of the next year because it was passionless. We didn't have any passion for it. It was just about making as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time. So we kind of we abandoned that idea and then started Path because it's something that we are actually passionate about. We're passionate about entrepreneurship, financial freedom, health and wellness, and emotional intelligence. So we can see ourselves doing this in a long set and not getting burnt out because we are so passionate about it. And that's really the game changer in entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
finding that passion.
And to kind of like echo on that, like from what you said, it's like entrepreneurship allows you to be creative in the best way possible with these feedback loops that the market provides. And so that's kind of the perspective we took with this. It's like, okay, how creative do we want to be in these specific areas because they mean a lot to us? And I think you made a pretty valid point about like comparing passion versus just money. It's like they may or may not go in the same like wavelength, but sometimes if you lead with passion, money will follow.
Yeah, it will
And so
intertwine at one time.
if you can do something that you love, I'd rather do something I love for 18 hours a day, like 180 hours a week or whatever, versus something I hate for 40 hours a week,
Yeah.
It's just a different mindset.
Yeah, one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard from an entrepreneur was out of, what was his name? The owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban. He
Oh
said
yeah.
he'd rather make $50,000 working for himself a year, opposed to $100,000 working for someone else, because he knows that working for someone else, he doesn't have a passion for that. He has a passion for building his own brand. And that really struck me when I first read that, because it is true. It is all about passion. It's not about the money. But money will find its way to you when you're passionate about something.
Although I think we don't have necessarily, like in my opinion, to demonize like the corporate lifestyle itself,
Oh
because
yeah,
Yeah,
at
absolutely.
the
yeah,
end, at the end, like I see many gurus and content creators like demonizing like having a corporate job or starting in it, like because you need like a breakthrough initially in your career. But I don't see the point in demonizing it, because let's be honest, like if you are like an average 20-year-old, like just coming out of college with no like important family behind your back, and no existing network, like where are you gonna go? Like
Right.
do you have any credibility to present yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, like if you strive like for a like decent corporate position within a respectable firm, like you can like start from there, like as a starting point to build
Yeah.
your credibility, your network. I think the important thing is that like we don't have to like fall for the trap of the corporate lifestyle. Like we have to always remember that we are like our first priority as individuals. Like everything has to be at our service. Like we shouldn't be like the servants of others. So like in that case, like the corporation is just like a tool for us, not like
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like you have to still be like a decent people. You cannot like be there and don't do nothing and contribute zero to your
Right.
work and your position, because at the end, like you will be simply kicked off, and no one in the industry will like deem you seriously. But at the same time, it's not worth it to sacrifice your entire existence to contribute to someone else's dream. Like everyone
Yeah.
is, in
true.
my opinion, is worthy of living their own dream and pursue it.
Exactly.
Right.
Well said. And I think what you raised is something very important. It's that like just because you have to put one up on the pedestal doesn't mean you have to knock the other one down in
Right.
terms of entrepreneurship versus the corporate lifestyle. Because I think I fell into that trap too, where I was so opposed to working a 9 to 5 that I tried to sell everyone on it. But you have to take a step back and realize that just because it works for you doesn't mean it works for someone else.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's one of the realizations that kind of we're trying to push at Path too, is that like we're not trying to force anything on you. We're just trying to let you figure it out if it's something you like or not. Because
Yeah.
I mean, you can make really, really healthy money just working a 9 to 5 and you could be completely happy with it.
Yeah, you get
And if you hear something
benefits.
for us where we're trying to demonize it, then might try to double think, or you might get agitated or angry, or you might like quit that job that you actually really liked. And so it's very, very good position that you bring up,
Yeah.
that it kind of, I think it takes a little bit of maturity and more so like understanding that you have to like consider both sides and not just go full throttle on one side and then completely disregard the other side, because they both have valid arguments.
And also,
Definitely. Well
like
said.
something I would add, like on your comment about maturity. Many of these like influencers and content creators, like especially gurus, when they speak about corporation, they sort of try to create this like metaphysical boogeyman of enslavement, as sort of
Yeah.
imagine like for instance Microsoft with a whiplash whipping his
Yeah.
employees,
I've
but
seen that post before.
but
Bill
like
Gates. So
if we have to be honest, like in your opinion, like being completely honest, we live in a market economy. Like most of us are mostly rational agents, sometimes acting irrational and acting in their own self-interest. Do you really think if corporate lifestyle was really that bad and brutal, do you think there would be so many people pursuing it?
Right. Yeah. Well, that comes down to the person, what they want, right? And I always go back to the advice of do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do, right? And if that is starting out in your corporate job, building your resume up, building those skills up, and then you want to branch off as an entrepreneur, then absolutely go do that. But if that corporate job is healthy for you, you're making good money, you have those benefits coming in, it helps your family out, then by all means stay in there and do that, because that is a good thing. At the end of the day, you're there to provide for your family and your loved ones. So if that's what a corporate job can do for you, then absolutely do it. But it is up to the person and what they want to do.
I mean, also, if we have to connect like entrepreneurship and the corporate lifestyle with a sort of profit risk matrix, like it's the same as finance. Like at the end, like entrepreneurship is simply more profitable and lucrative because you have more risk and responsibility. But let's be honest, like not everyone is suited for that. Like I know so many people that like they would crumble if they had to face responsibility because it's a heavy psychological toll. Like it's not
Yeah.
made for
Yeah.
everyone because not everyone can survive pressure. Like for instance, like speaking about the finance space, like how many people you see like complaining because they have to work like 10 hours or 11 hours a day. I mean, that's the average self-starter has to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And you see like people like complaining about it and being so dramatic, but like that's the average like life of a self-starter entrepreneur that like
Yeah.
he's starting completely by himself, like as a bootstrap. Like in the first phase of this specific type of journey, it's not going to be easy. Like you're going to be like your own employee. You have to
Yeah.
build everything by yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're the marketer, you're the finance guy, you're the accountant, you're everything. Your
Yeah.
supply chain, if you're in that business, you wear every single hat as an entrepreneur.
Which I
And
think,
most people can't do that.
yeah.
Like,
And I was
yeah.
going to say it ties into like two distinct things that we've had in this conversation. One, the hero's journey, which I think that you've brought up, and it's really relevant because I think entrepreneurship is a hero's journey. Like you receive that call to action, and it takes courage in order to kind of listen to it and actually go for it, right?
Yeah.
And then I forgot what the second one was, but just stick with the the hero's journey. I feel that like when you are able to kind of move on that call to action, it is part of that self-improvement process, right? Where you find that meaning in the suffering, working the 10 to 12 hours a day, right? And it's kind of using the idea of like compound interest and intention from finance, right? Where if you can put all this front heavy load up, and like you invest hundreds of thousands of quote unquote dollars in terms of time, then you see the dividends, you see the investment, the ROI at the end, right? And you can see that compound interest growing. And it's an interesting thing, with the multidisciplinary approach where you were talking about you have to wear like the marketing hat, the sales hat, the finance hat, the accounting hat, where you can instead of just specializing into one thing, you get this multidisciplinary approach, which gives you a more holistic view of it. And so you can kind of take a step back and kind of really understand where the business needs to go,
Right.
as opposed to maybe if you're at a corporate job, where I was in finance. So I only had the finance view of things as opposed to having like a supply chain view of it.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of gives you like that habit of learning how to kind of take that approach to life. Like instead of just like looking at this one specific section of life, being like, okay, maybe there's some other things that I should go exploring as well, right?
Yeah. And that it makes you more valuable too when you have all those hats.
I mean, I think at the end, like even with small successes, you need some kind of momentum.
Yeah.
Like you need some kind of momentum in order to sort of build yourself because at the end, like even in the strongest individuals that I've seen, like the mental resilience is not enough to sustain itself like for like a long period of time without some small tangible successes.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was Alex Hormozy who said like you don't build confidence by like repeating affirmations in the mirror, but like going out and building undeniable proof step by step that you can actually do something.
Right.
And so, yeah, I feel that that's like one of the misconceptions that I feel has been kind of being thoroughly debunked in like the self-improvement industry, is that motivation isn't enough. Like you can't have sporadic spurts of motivation to really get you going. Like you need something like a why, like a big why of why you need to do something.
Why are you doing
Yeah, why are you doing this? Like maybe to help like serve your family, maybe to create a great community, maybe to kind of push yourself to like beyond, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something more deeper than just like, oh, I feel like this could be cool for me, you know, for like the next 30 days and then I'll stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's also why I see many, like I think we have seen like at least like 5 or 10 people around us, like for instance, like enrolling in computer science or finance because they say, oh, I want to make a ton of money, and then they end up crippled and depressed because the money is not big enough. Why? Like you're not gonna break through with just like money as a motivation because it's not enough. Like you have to have like a deeper why. Or
Yeah, exactly.
otherwise you like definitely you don't have the mental resilience like to resist the hardships and to like go throughout all the challenges and tests that like the life is gonna give you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's a good place to wrap up, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christian, thank you so much for being on this podcast. Do you have any like final remarks for our guests or our followers? Any advice you'd like to give?
I think my advice would be, if I had to give just one, very simple, because like I think we were speaking even the last time about mindfulness, and in general,
Mm-hmm.
mindfulness is not just like something like abstract. The like it's one of those new age practices done by Pilates moms. It cannot,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
useless in your life. Like actually, like because I did a course with IBM and the Oxford University about mindfulness, and if you actually like do it properly, like as a like scientific practice, which by the way comes from like like uh, centuries, even thousands of years of like Oriental and Western philosophical tradition. Like it's not something that was discovered like recently. It's something that was already known by our ancestors. And I want to tell like you this anecdote. Like, do you know, like in the 50s, they did an like a controlled experiment with 2 rats, and one rat like he was like dropped in a pool, and this rat like eventually, like just by trying to swim and remain afloat, like after something like 3 hours, he simply died of exhaustion. But with the second rat, they like when he was about to like give up and simply die drowned, they picked him up of the water and dropped him again. Do you know for how many hours that rat was able to swim? Like try guess.
After being picked up,
5, 6 hours.
yeah, I don't know how long.
He was able to swim for 60 hours.
Holy
What?
crap. Wow.
Yeah, so
Dang.
in general, like we're like we as like creatures like of nature, especially humans, if you are able to sort of hack ourselves, like give me like pass me this term, like if we are able to hack ourselves and use like mindfulness, this type of like practices to enhance like our abilities, our mental and physical endurance, because at the end there is like especially this was studied on athletes, there is like a mental body connection. So like both
Yeah.
they influence each other in a feedback loop again. So like if we're able to like improve like this like mental body connection, and use mindfulness, like as by the way also Tibetan monks do, to like calm ourselves, like create a unshakable hope in our faith. I mean, I think this is the key to become superhumans, in fact.
Yeah.
So this is my advice for the path audience, and in general also for my audience. So guys, I want to thank you again, like for your invite. Also, I think we had an incredible conversation, and I hope we can like spark other new things and create even more value for the path community together.
Absolutely.
100%.
We
Yeah.
appreciate it, Christian.
Yeah,
You're
thank
awesome,
you.
man.
Thank you for everything. We really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you guys, and I wish you a brilliant continuation and evening.